Alright, eShop? Check. Random generator? Check. Buyer's remorse and regret? Check. Let's go! Today, I got 5 more randomly generated games for you guys from the Nintendo Switch eShop. The only rules being that if I get the game generated, I do have to buy it and play it for at least an hour, and give it a solid chance. If I already have the game, I have to re-roll for a new one, and I did put a budget limit per game, just because I am too broke right now. With that out of the way, let's get started. Oh, and real quick, sorry if I sound a little bit under the weather, I just got COVID. I rate my experience 10 out of 10, would not contract again. The first game that the website picked out for me was Damsel. Damsel is an action, platformer, arcade-style game that you could purchase for $6.99 on the eShop. In this game, you play as Damsel, who goes around stages shooting up vampires and freeing hostages in order to stop Red Mist, a company that is selling a very evil and no bueno vampire drink. You dash between platforms and wall jump to move around, have melee and long distance attacks, disarm bombs, and more in order to clear a stage. The point of the game is to try to get as many points as possible by collecting skulls in order to increase your combos, as well as clearing objectives in the stage. If you are a speedrunner or like arcade-style games like this should be your cup of tea. I thought the comic style for the cutscenes was a nice addition, and the visuals of the stage are nice too, if maybe a tad bit mobile gamey. The story and characters aren't the greatest, but sometimes that's fine when the gameplay is just so much fun. And the gameplay is, well, let's get into that. The controls are tight and very responsive, and when you can just run around, jump between platforms, and shoot up vampires, this is a lot of fun. There are a couple downsides though. The stages are mostly the same, with maybe a twist or two added later on. So if you're looking for a ton of variety with stages, you're not going to get that here. Unless there are significant changes later on. Keep in mind, I only played for about an hour, and for me, I felt like the hostages and the bombs got in the way of the fun. Damn hostages. For the hostages, if you accidentally kill them, you start the entire stage over. Damn hostages. So I never bothered with my airborne shooting technique, since I could easily kill a hostage that way. And with some areas, I had to be super precise in order to not kill a hostage, which you can easily shoot an extra bullet and accidentally kill one. Damn hostages. I feel like either they should not be affected by your bullets, they should have a health bar, or they should just be a point deduction rather than make you start over if you accidentally kill them. Cause who cares about casualties? Psh. Then there are the bombs. In order to defuse them, you have to click your cursor over the right segments before the time limit, and if one goes off, regardless of whether it kills you, or a hostages, or not, you have to start the entire stage over. This severely slows down the gameplay for a mechanic that really isn't that fun. Sure, you could avoid the bombs and hostages in most stages, but then what's the point of having them there? And then that doesn't even include some of the stages where you have to do that in order to beat the level. Despite these elements, this is a good time waster for not that much money, and if you're looking for something to hone your speedrunning skills, this would be a good game for that. If this seems like something you'd like, I recommend picking it up. Second up, we got Stardust Galaxy Warrior Stellar Climax. Oh boy, that title was a mouthful. This is an action shooter game with co-op capabilities that you can get for only $9.99. Honestly, I wasn't looking forward to this one after playing the space shooter from the last video. But honestly, I found it a ton of fun. I liked that it wasn't just a one-hit kill from collisions or bullets. You can actually go for quite a while, thanks to your shield and the health bar, unlike a certain other game I played last time. You also have a variety of weapons on you, including 2 types of guns, a melee attack, and a special ability. I played as Silver Wolf, since I like to hit fast and hard. Please don't take that out of context, although that wolf is really pretty. Anyway, he comes with the special abilities to dash across the screen quickly, along with that satisfying wolf howl ability that obliterates enemies on screen. The howl also pairs great with the awesome music. There are also upgrades that you can get at the end of levels in order to boost up your characters against the waves of enemies. as well as a shop that you can purchase abilities and upgrades from when you beat a boss. I even played this game for fun and not just for the video, which means a lot for me considering I don't play many space shooters. The only shame is you can't play online with friends with this one, but if you got some friends locally, unlike me who just has one of those sister things, this could be great at hangouts. If you're looking for a fun shooter, especially a co-op experience, this would honestly be a great grab, and it doesn't cost that much at all. I highly recommend. The third game we got is Paws, which is honestly a lucky draw as I've been looking to get this game for quite a while. Well, it was a lucky draw. Let me explain. Paws is an adventuring farm/life simulation game where you get to play as a cute little animal. Think of this as the love child between Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley in a way. This game can be purchased for $24.99 on the Nintendo eShop. You make money by running a small shop on your house where animals will eagerly run up and buy anything you have, from fecal matter to random flowers you can literally pick on the way up to my farm. Basically what real animals would buy from you if they were sentient. Let's go into the positives. First off, I could be a fox. Once you are able to unlock them, there's mining, dungeon exploration, crafting, raising animals, which is kind of weird, especially considering you can raise cats and bunnies, but you have sentient cats and bunnies walking around, farming, fishing, and more. So there is a lot of the typical stuff you'd find in a farming or life sim like this. The animals are also very cute, and the idea of running a shop is a great idea. It starts off very relaxing and the music is great, but it sadly doesn't stay that way for long. I really wanted to like this game, really bad. It seems up my alley. I enjoyed it a lot at first, and it's a really small dev team that works on it, and lots of other people like it, but I couldn't get into it. Why? Well, first off, the animals have no personality. They're cute, but they're just there to sell stuff to you and make you do endless fetch quests. They are nothing but mindless capitalistic zombies. I have no motivation to talk to them, which I feel like is part of the fun of life simulators. Second, the area is too big. I know that sounds weird, but there isn't a lot in these areas and the travel times are too long. You can barely get anywhere in a day, and it's not fun to do so. Plus, you can easily get lost on the way to your destination. Not to mention there is a bit of jankiness with the performance as well. Objects and NPCs can disappear, and the game has a hard time loading occasionally, making it where I can't move for a while. I'm fine with things like small frame drops, but both of these things affect the gameplay. Finally, there's a lot of grinding that has to be done. You need money in order to get any upgrades, and the only way to get money is through your shop. I heard it's easier later on when you could do things like cooking or making flower bouquets, but doing it with your chicken coop, gathered materials, and crops at first is really slow, especially with the profit margins on your crops being kinda low. And unfortunately with this level of grinding, there has to be some type of reward. It has to feel like you're continuously making progress and not just stuck in an endless loop and nothing is getting easier. That's too much like real life. I guess that sums it up for me with this game. It's really slow. Too slow. While playing it, I just wanted to play Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley again, which they are slow games too, but with them it isn't so grindy to get money, travel time in your main area doesn't take forever, and there's more to your NPCs than just fetch quests and buying stuff. And with Paws, unless you get an assistant, which cuts into your already low profit margins, you have to choose between either getting to go around and gather materials, or stay home and make money. It's sad because I honestly, truly wanted to love this game, but there are some things just holding it back. I do think that there is something good here, so I would like to give the devs some advice, either for this game or the next one they make, because I think they have potential. 1. Give the NPCs some personality. The NPCs being cute can only carry them so far. 2. With a huge map, either add ways to cut down on your travel time, or add some more to the island to explore, or even just make the map a bit smaller in general. 3. I think the profit margins should be increased a little bit on the crops, as to not make it so grindy in the beginning. Oh, and probably patch up the performance issues as well. As for whether I think this game is worth it or not, I'm torn. Because I don't really like it, but lots of other people love it. So I would say to do your research into this game to see if you'd like it before you buy it. Next up is Marenian Tavern Story, Patty and the Hungry God. What in the unholy name of biscuits is that title? Patty and the Hungry God is an RPG game you could get for $19.99 off of the Nintendo eShop. Your younger brother accidentally gets a god of poverty named Coco attached to him, which flings your family in debt and causes you to lose your house and your father's tavern. This is why younger siblings are the worst. In order to get rid of Coco, you must run a tavern from the ground up and use it to make dishes to feed him and weaken his power. Of course, you can buy ingredients for cooking from the local shops, however, you're more than likely going to be getting most of your ingredients from traveling in dungeons, where you gather some materials out in the field and others from defeating monsters in battle. And of course, the more you progress in the game, the more recipes you can unlock for dishes and ingredients, which allows you to save more money. And in this game, you don't level up your party or your tavern with EXP points, but rather by feeding your party or Coco dishes that you create. A lot of recipes will come fully unlocked, but some of them you have to try to figure out what ingredients go to what recipes, based on the food name and patterns found in similar dishes. The combat is pretty standard turn-based RPG style, where everyone's turns are based on their speed, and there are different weapons that could go to different party members, regular attacks, special attacks, as well as elemental attacks that can help you use more effective attacks in combat. You can also fish in the game, as well as run a small field for farming. Unfortunately, you don't get to actually farm though, which kind of sucks. You just pick out seeds and fertilizer and someone does it for you. Honestly though, I really enjoy the game. It's fun unlocking new recipes, and the feeling you get when you successfully guess what ingredients are in a new recipe is great. It's a bit grindy, but it's the grindiness I enjoy. I feel like I'm always achieving something, whether it's making money in my tavern, creating new dishes, gathering lots of ingredients, or leveling up my teammates or tavern. And there is a bit of complexity to the tavern as well. You can't just throw up the same dishes all the time, or else customers will get bored of it and not buy it. And different seasons can cause different dishes to be more popular than others. And if you don't feel like going around and gathering ingredients, you can purchase skip cards with jewels, which will allow you to gather up any non-monster ingredients without exploring the dungeon. The story and characters aren't necessarily the most original or anything. However, there are still some fun moments, and I do want to help Patty's tavern succeed so she can get her home back. This is really a hidden gem for me. It makes me glad that I do these videos, or else I would never have seen it or given it a chance. Honestly, if this sounds like something you'd enjoy, I highly recommend picking it up. It's a lot of fun for a very reasonable price. Finally, we got WWE 2K Battlegrounds. This is a sports/fighting game that you can pick up from the Nintendo eShop for $39.99, though I do believe I picked this up on sale. I will go ahead and preface this by saying that I am personally not the biggest fan of sports games, and although I do play some fighting games like Smash Bros, I am not the most avid player. So while this is my opinion of the game, be sure to do some research of your own if you think that you might like this game. Now let's get into my thoughts of the game. I guess let's go into positives first. I do like the art style in the comics, though I have no idea how anyone can read that font on the Switch's small screen. And that's it! Let's get into what I don't like about it. First off, I don't really like the way the characters look in the game. I know this is a matter of personal taste, but I think they look really weird. Next, the difficulty level is just ridiculous. It ranges from being too easy to just way too difficult and unresponsive. Like, as soon as I trap my opponents in a series of slaps, they literally can't get to me. All I did was spam buttons until I won, and that's it. It's not fun. It's not like I had any kind of strategy or really any kind of difficulty. I just kept pressing a bunch of buttons on my controller. And then I go into something like the money cage levels, where it was unresponsive sometimes to me climbing the cage. And then when I have to shake off my opponents, nothing I do will allow me to get them off of me, even though I follow the prompts. It literally stops moving, even though I keep pressing the button. Speaking of prompts, some of them appear way too fast for me to follow it, and then I just get knocked flat on my bonkadonk. This is way too much punishment for a prompt that goes away way too quick. Finally, and this was the biggest mood killer for me, the intro scenes and loading times are way too long. Every time a match is starting, there has to be a long intro for the character that can't be skipped. And you can only play as one character at first, so you get to see his thing over and over again. And in the 2v2 battles, you have to watch 4 bloody, unskippable intros. I could literally get up and do something and come back to still having to wait for the intros to just end. It made me not even want to play with how much waiting time there was. And I like to think of myself as very patient with that kind of stuff. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy this game too much. And I would have been so livid if I spent the full $40 on it. For me, I don't recommend buying it. I think games like Smash Bros. Or Skullgirls are much more fun than this if you want to play a fighting game. If you want to play a WWE game, I would do more research into other WWE games for the Switch before you settle for this one. Or even look more into this game to see if you really want to get it for yourself. It does seem like there are a lot of stages, so if this seems like your cup of tea, then you should be able to get a lot of playtime out of it. For me, it's not worth sitting for the wait times to play. Alright, this time we had 1 bad egg, 2 mixed bags, and 2 hidden gems. However, that last game depressed me, so I'll just go back to playing Patty and the Hungry God. Have you played any of these games before, or did any of them seem interesting to you? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you want to see more videos like this from me, be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell. And I also have more First Impressions gaming videos in this playlist here, so click here if you want to binge more gaming videos from me. Until next time, this is Danse Macabre, signing out.